Okay, today I'm going to start from Baf Gimel Amud Aleph. Shema, the second to the bottom line. Baf Gimel Amud Aleph. Yeah. Thank Hashem that you're able to find Torah every day. Every day some English. See that? 23. Yeah.
8-4.
And I'm learning also for Shlema for my father and for Naftali ben Bela. Okay. Rami Bar Chama asked the question. We're going to start from Tashema. But Rami Bar Chama had a question about if the Kohen was Tamei B'Safek when he was bringing the Karbanos. Based on his question, we understood that the brisa that we said earlier was about the if the tzitz is meratza, if the tzitz, which is the plate on the forehead, if that's atones for tumah. Said based on that question, we understood that it was only referring to when I'm sorry. Based on that question, we understood that a Yisrael cannot send his Pesach if he's not going to eat it. That's what we understood from that. And that would he cannot send the Korban Pesach if he's not going to be able to eat it. In other words, it's if he's Tamei and he's going to send the Korban Pesach with someone else, that would not be valid, right? That would be arguing with the opinion that we had yesterday, which was the Ziknei Darim, the elders of the South, right, that held that if you do send that you can send the Korban Pesach, the eating of the Korban Pesach, don't worry about it. If you tell me, don't worry, it's fine. So what was the pshat in the Pesach Sheni? You tell me. We said, oh, that was the mitzvah. Then it's a good thing to do the Pesach Sheni instead of this. But if you sent it, it would also work. Comes along Rami Bar Chama argues on them and says that no, you can't send it if you're not going to be eligible to eat it. Well, Tashema, come and listen. And Aaron will carry the sin of the holies. Which sin does he carry? Carrying the sin means he'll atone. Which sin will he atone for? Imavain pigel. Now, when it says over here pigel, it's not actually referring to pigel. Pigel is usually when the thoughts are that it's chutz lizmanai, out of the allotted time. But here it's talking about that the thoughts that it's out of the allotted place. Imavain pigel. Are they
both equal that as pigel?
No, it actually doesn't have the halacha of pigel. It's called pigel, but it's not pigel.
Got it.
Imavain pigel. Now, it's some of the notes say that it's supposed to say loy yiratza here. And if you see in Tosfos or Rashi, it says, you see, they switch it. If it's talking about pigel when it's out of the allotted place, then it already says that it shouldn't count. So what are you telling me that it's going to count? That Aaron is going to atone for it means that it would count. Ima by nicer, if it's nicer, now over here, nicer doesn't mean nicer. Over here, nicer doesn't mean that it's actually left over. Nicer means that if it's thoughts of leaving it over too long. So then, we said that it should not appease. It should not be an appeasement. So what does it mean that Aaron is going to atone by wearing the tzitz? He's going to atone for these, for the sin of the holies, if it's going to be these thoughts. It must be that Aaron will atone for the impurity which was permitted when this entire congregation that's impure. That's what Aaron will atone for, impurities. Now, my tumah, which impurity are we referring to? If we say that it'll atone for this, if it was a sheretz that made the person tamei, where do we find that the sheretz, if the entire congregation was tamei with the sheretz, that's hutra b'tzibur, that they can bring the, no, it was only tamei meis, we said, right? Ella tamas meis, it was only if it was impure from a corpse. B'lav kegayin shenitzmu b'aylam b'meis. It must mean that the owner became impure, and we're saying that it's going to atone it's going to atone for the for the impurity that the kohen had when he was sending the sacrifice. Alma nitmu ba'elim b'meis mishalchin karbanei seyem. If it's going to atone, that would mean that they're able to send their karbanos. Now, b'mai, one second. He's impure and he's sending his karban. Ibn Nazir, if we're talking about that, it was a Nazir that was sending his karban while he's impure. It says that if he's impure, the Nazir becomes impure, then he has to do the whole thing, the whole purification process before he does his atonement. Can't be talking about the Nazir. Allah say Pesach must be talking about Isay Pesach. It must be that the owner of the carbon Pesach became Tameh. He's trying to send his carbon. Really, he shouldn't, but he's doing it anyway. It's atoned for. It's considered an acceptable carbon. Now, that's a kasha on Rami Bar Chama. Rami Bar Chama said that you're not allowed to send the carbon Pesach. That it would be invalid. Here we're saying that it's valid. When it says Leilam B'Sheretz, really we're talking about not Tamei Meis, we're talking about a Sheretz. So why did we say before that we're talking about the type of Tumah that was permissible, that was an exception and was permissible in the community? A Sheretz isn't permissible if the whole community is Tamei Sheretz. A Sheretz is only that night, and Tamei Meis is 7 days. The Nazir was Tamei Meis. We're dealing with the person that's bringing the sacrifice, with the type of impurity that the person had. The Nazir was not allowed to go to a cemetery, was not allowed to become Tamei Meis. We didn't say anything about a Nazir becoming Tamei Sheretz. It doesn't say that. Nazir can't drink wine, he can't go to a cemetery.
And what's that?
Tamei Sheretz? Tamei Sheretz is if he touches like a dead lizard or something. So, we said, Loilam B'Sheretz, B'Shem Tumah B'Olam. I know we said that it's Hutra, Michlala, B'Tzibur, that it becomes permissible in the community, but we didn't mean that specific type. It meant in general, Tumah becomes permissible in the community if the whole community or the majority of the community is Tameh. Wasn't talking about Tumah Sheretz, it was talking about Tumas Meis, but the concept of Tumah was there, that it does become permissible. Okay. There are those that say this exactly the opposite, and instead of bringing it as a proof against Rami Bar Chama, they bring it as a support for Rami Bar Chama, and it's a proof against the Ziknei Darim. Ziknei Darim said that you could allow to send the sacrifice, even if you're impure. Avoina Kadashim. The pasuk said, "V'nasa arnas Avoina Kadashim." Aaron will carry the sin of the holies.
Where was Ziknei Darim from?
Is that your question?
Yeah.
Oh, in Eretz Yisrael, the south. That's what we're
South
thinking.
of Yerushalayim.
Yeah. South of Tveria.
So where would that be?
Yerushalayim.
Then
Tzipari.
it's on the west.
They didn't say exactly where they're from. Okay, so now it says, "Ma'asiyachi Avoina Kadashim in." A sin where the sacrifice is impure, yes. Avoin Makdishim Loi, but a sin of either the owners or the sin of the kohen that the kohen gadol doesn't atone for. What's the base over here? B'mai. What type of sin are we talking about? Tuma b'mai tameya. With what did he become tamei? Ilema tuma sheretz. Do we say that we're talking about tuma sheretz? So mi yishtaya b'tzibur. Did that become permissible with the community? If the whole community or majority of the community was tamei sheretz, were they allowed to bring the sacrifice? Elalav tumas meis. It must be talking about that it's a tumas meis. We're saying that it's only if it's the animal became tamei, but not if the Kayan or the owner was Tamei, which means that you're not allowed to send the sacrifice. The Kayan will not atone for that sacrifice if the owner's Tamei, which means it's not a valid sacrifice. You can't send it if you're Tamei. You can't send the carbon Pesach when you're Tamei and say, well, I brought it. I know I wasn't allowed to eat it, but I brought it. And I didn't eat it. I let everyone else eat it. So this is a proof to Rami Bar Chama that holds that you're not allowed to send it in such a case. In the Zikni discussion, Zikni Darim, the Gemara says, Loi, Le'um to Masheretz, V'shem to M'vaylam. We're really talking about the Masheretz. It doesn't fit with the exact wording. You say, well, we're not being specific over there. We're just saying that Tumah in general does become permissible in the community. I know not to Masheretz, but Tumas Meis, but nevertheless, we're dealing with to Masheretz over here, where everyone would agree that you can't send, that the Kohen cannot be Tamei Sheretz when he's bringing the sacrifice, that everyone agrees. The owner would be allowed to send it, but that's because at night he would be allowed to eat it. But there is really no permissible time where someone that's actually Tamei Sheretz would be allowed to partake of the sacrifice. Okay. Yeshev. Tumah the deep means a doubtful tumah, called Tumah the deep. We're talking about, when are you on 2022A or 23A or 23B? Oh, they're summarizing then. Going back. Okay. Yeah, Tumah the deep, what we learned yesterday was that anything that's a doubt. It's called Tumah the deep because it's buried in the ground and we don't know if it's where it was or if it was there. It's called Tumas Tahim. So yeah, that's the way we explain it. Yeshev, if someone's sitting and he does the service in the temple, right? So it's going to be, not only is it not acceptable, but it invalidates the sacrifice. We know, and how do we know that? Amar Rav Nachman, Rav says in Racham, Lamed l'sharis, to stand and to serve. La'amida b'chartiv leili yeshiva. You're going to serve in the temple. You have to be standing, not sitting. There's no chairs in the. Some stores they don't let the workers sit. You can go into, like in the mall or something. They don't give them a chair. Most cashiers. Yeah. That's tough. It's many hours standing. What do they do? How do they handle that?
The cashier job is harder because you can't move around. But when you're walking around, it's
It's almost like teaching. Do you sit when you teach?
I'm jumping around.
You're jumping around.
You're the teacher.
What is that? Yeah, that's not it. The teachers stand for all day, mamish all day. They stand. And some teachers sit, but the ones that stand are standing all day from morning to night.
You make all your teachers.
No, they don't make them. They have a chair, but they also have a stander. They want, so they can stand. Taner Rabbanan, it was taught in the Brayso, Lamed l'sharis, standing to serve mitzvah. That means that it's a mitzvah. Now, when the Gemara uses the term mitzvah, it means that it's a mitzvah to do it, but it's not ma'akev. Kishwaimer ha'imdim shana ha'imdim. Let me see that pasuk. When it says, see it number 4. B'sheris b'shem Hashem alikav cholachav ha'laviyim ha'imdim sham lefnei Hashem. When it repeats it, that it says standing, shana alav ha'kasav lakiv. The repetition means that it's essential, and that it would become invalid if they weren't standing. Amalei Rabbi Rav Nachman Michti. He's a Rabbi says to Rav Nachman second. Yoshev kizar dami u'machalavayt. What you're saying is that someone that's sitting is like a zar. It's like a stranger. He's not considered a kohen, right? Lamed l'sharis. If he's not standing, then he's not considered serving. He's not considered a kohen, and he profanes avodah. Ema mazar b'misa if yeshiv b'misa. Maybe it should be just like a zar that does certain services in the temple, he gets a death penalty. So too, if someone's sitting in the temple, he should get the death penalty. Alamatanya, why was it taught in the Brayso? Avel, Arel, Einen, Yoshev, Einen b'misa elabazara. Why does it say that there's no misa there? It sounds like he's like a zar. And there, Azar is the stranger. Azar. So why isn't it? So the Gemara answers Mishum Davim Mechusar Begadim Mishlei Rachas Yadayim Raglayim Shnei Ksuv Mabam Kechad Chol Shnei Ksuv Mabam Kechad Ein Malamdim. We have a rule like this that says that if we have a precedent for something and we learn everything from that, so then fine, that's called the Binyanav. We'll learn from the Binyanav. Mamatzino is another word for it. We'll learn from that everywhere else in the Torah. Now, once it's once we have a Mamatzino, so it doesn't need to repeat that again, because we already have a precedent. If you're repeating it again, it's coming to tell me that the precedent is not substantial. You have to repeat it again. So there's an opinion that holds Shnei Ksuvim Abam Kecha. There's two verses that have to teach me a precedent. But that have to teach that to me means that it's not really a precedent for anything, because Ein Malam, you can't learn from it. So since I have two sources, Bechusar Begadim and Shlei Rachas, missing the clothing of the Kohen Gadol, or not having washed his hands and feet, where it's a Chi of Misa, right? If the blood was sprinkled by him. So that tells me that if he's sitting, it's not going to apply.
Because it says that now store owners give seats for their employees.
Oh, really?
The legal.
You don't see it though.
Is that in this?
Yeah, probably.
It's Florida statute.
Oh, it's Florida statute. I was just in for Rosh Hashanah. I stayed in a hotel. People by the cashier, what are they called?
Counter, yeah.
By the counter. There's no seats there. There's no seats there. I said, you stand all day? I said,
No, but they have seats in the back room.
Oh.
Only when people come to the desk, they get up.
Yeah.
Chatzi.
Ulamanda Amar Malamde. And what about it? There's another opinion that says that you can learn, even though there's two precedents, you can learn from that. It says Shasuyayin Havale Shlishi. There is a death penalty from heaven if someone's drunk and he's in the temple doing the service. So that's a third source. And everyone holds, everyone holds you can't learn from three precedents. That's for sure is not necessary. It must mean that the precedents over here don't work. And so it's going to be back to square one, which means that we don't know that we don't know that a Yoshev should be Misa.
Last one.
About the drunk.
It has one statement. That the second one comes out.
No, you're saying that when it repeats, starts off as a mitzvah the first time, then repeats it becomes essential. That's only in the same mitzvah itself. Now we're talking about one mitzvah it says this, another one it says the same thing. This is two different sources. Why does it have to repeat it? If a precedent should work, it shouldn't need to repeat it. In the mitzvah itself, it's saying twice. You know,
It makes it weaker.
makes it weaker to use as a source for other things if you have to say it in every individual one. We have three things that you're not allowed to stand on when you're doing the service. You can't stand on utensils, you can't stand on an animal, you can't stand on your friend's feet. You get cold over there, you want to step on something, you can't do that. Minolan, how do we know that this would invalidate the sacrifice if you weren't standing directly on the ground? The Tana Debi Rabbi Yishmael, taught in Yeshiva Rabbi Yishmael, says like this: Hayel beritzba mikadeshes. That's yeah. Since the floor can sanctify, and also a holy vessel can sanctify. Just like when it comes like to the klisharis, you have to be holding it directly. So too, when you're standing on the floor, you have to be standing on the floor, directly on the floor, with nothing in between. They
Not
didn't,
even
they didn't
someone
wear
else's
shoes, not even someone else's foot. Utzricha, and it's necessary to tell me all of these things, all of these types of items, but that you can't be interposed is probably the word that they use. Chatzitza is the way they translate it, interpose. Intercept. That's means to
Intermediate.
interfere.
To be on someone's shoulders, just his feet. If they trying to say that's the whole body, or can you go?
I'm not sure. Give the man a cookie on the sukkah. Okay. The Yashmin and Kaylee, if it would only say that vessels, because that's not a type of flesh. Standing on it, that means it's not. There's really a chatzitza, something interposing between. Aval behema demina de basru, but when you're standing on an animal, so that's a type of flesh. A malay, I would say that maybe that's not an interruption. That's not chatzitza. Yashmin and behema, and if it would say any animal is a problem, blamina de adamo, because that's not a human. Aval chavera the adamo, but his friend, that's a human. I would say that maybe it's the same thing. A malay, I would say it's not a problem. So it's necessary.
This one is like what I thought it was.
No.
Adding.
No, neither. None of that. No, this is the Mishnah, not the Torah. The Mishnah gives me 3 examples. And why does the Mishnah need to give me all those examples? Could have just said that you can't stand on top of vessels. It says, no, well, I wouldn't have known from the Mishnah you can't stand on top of animals. It was also say animals. I wouldn't have known you can't stand on top of your friend's feet. This is the Mishnah talking. The Mishnah, we don't have the same snake. So that we were talking about before was if it's in a verse in the Torah, in the Chumash. Tanya, son in a brisa, Rabbi Eliezer Reimer, Rabbi Eliezer says, Ragle achas ala kelev, ragle achas ala ritzba. Let's say 1 foot. Yeah, Shalom. Getting into your type of question. 1 foot is on a vessel, 1 foot is on the ground. Ragle achas ala even, ragle achas ala ritzba. 1 foot is on a stone. Interesting. The stone is not part of the ground.
There's no stones in the base like that.
Prove to me that there are stones in the base of Mikdash.
But I said that there isn't.
I'm asking.
There is.
Bring a proof that there are.
Prove negative.
Because remember the Kayan that poured the water on his feet?
Yeah.
So they threw their sregim on it. Umar says that they chipped the
That stone wouldn't be jumped on.
chipped the altar. Rashi says that they threw stones along with the
Sneaky.
chipped it. So obviously there had to be stones there.
Oh, how
Someone
far
should read, like, last year's
the guy we're talking about, is he Israel or is he a Kain?
Sorry,
Is he Israel or is he a Kain?
he was a Kohen. Whatever the case is, you can't stand on a stone. If there's stones there, you can't stand on them when you're doing the service. So one of the commentaries said that maybe the stones came from that other Gemara that said that they didn't want them to do the Arava Shabbos. The Baitusim held you're not allowed to bang the Arava on Shabbos, even in the Beis Hamikdash. We hold in the Beis Hamikdash you're allowed to and should do it on Shabbos. They're not. So what they did was they took stones, which are muktzah, they put them on top of the Arava so they shouldn't be able to lift them, shouldn't be able to take them. So came along Amiratzim and moved those stones. They said maybe the stones that they used were those stones at the Baitusim.
Batusim. What's
Guys
Batusim?
clean everything.
What's Batusim?
Baitusim were another group, like the Tzedukim, there was another group called Baitusim.
Being public clean.
Yeah, but apparently they had some stones. I don't know. Well, you can't stand on a stone, 1 foot on stone, 1 foot on the ground. If you would remove the stone, if you remove the utensil, and he'd still be able to stand, then he's considered standing, and his service is going to be acceptable. But if you remove that stone and he would fall, and avidase psula, then it would be invalid. Boy, Rabami has a question. Let's say the stone is loose. We consider that part of the floor, a loose tile on the Beis Hamikdash. If you're not planning on reconnecting that stone, plastering it in, I don't know what they do, how do they get the stones in, the tiles? They cement it in. If you're not planning on cementing it back in, then like Tibalach, we don't have a shaila. Devadei chaytza. For sure, that's an interpose between his foot and the floor because this is a loose stone. They're gonna fix it. What's the din? If they're planning on fixing it, it's as if it's fixed already, it's considered part of the floor. But maybe now it's not attached. It would not be a good service in the temple because the tile is loose. Remember the story with the loose tile in the base of English? Remember someone lifted it?
The guy in the place of the wood.
Yeah, exactly.
And closed off that room.
Yeah.
There was a tunnel.
Right. Very good. Rabbazuti boilachi. Oh, yeah. Hello's correct. There's also something else with the soita. They needed dirt from the floor. It was maybe they got it from under a tile, or there was one loose tile or something. So Rabba Zuta, Rabba the small. That's funny because Rabba means great and Zuta means small. Rabba Zuta, yeah,
Great.
small giant. He asked the question like this. Boy Rabami. He put it. That Rabami's question went like this: Nekra Eben Babad Bim Kaima. The stone was taken away.
Come over here.
Who holds
We're
that?
good. If the stone was removed and you're standing instead of on the stone, you're standing under the tile. The tile was taken off. Does that count?
Isn't it like a tunnel? So how do you just stand under it?
That one spot was a tunnel. That doesn't mean that every tile had a tunnel under it. There was one, right?
It was the secret opening.
Nekra Evan Mikmai. What's it in? What's his question? Ki Kaddish David Ritzbel Yaina Kaddish. When David consecrated that spot of the temple, he's consecrated only the tile, the linoleum. No, I'm kidding. The slabs on the top. Dilma Adla Aris the Tahaima Kaddish. Here's another term of Tahaim. Right? Is that time? This goes down until the core of till the deep. V'tibayile kol azar kula. Maybe you can ask the question different. Let's say the entire floor of the azara was removed. Would it be satisfactory? That would be a stronger question. It says Le'olam pshitale da'ad aris t'tayim kadesh. We know that even under the tiles, it's also consecrated. This question is derech shir spekach in derech shir spekach. But is that the way to serve? Or is that not considered serving? So Teku, we leave this as a question. Now, when it says derech shir spekach, you had a different type of. We're changing the type of question. Is this considered serving? And therefore, if it's not serving, what do they say? Let me take a look at your notes. 16. Is it considered respectful? But if this position is deemed to be lacking respect, the Avodah is invalid. Well, the entire pavement was stripped away, the Avodah would certainly be valid. Since where else could he stand? Okay, so that's what we answered. Very interesting. Okay. Kibel b'smal basel. We learned in the Mishnah that if he receives the blood with holding the vessel in his left hand, it's invalid. Reb Shimon says that it is valid. Okay, now we're gonna have to look up the psukim to see what's going on. Tana Rabban was taught in a brisa. The pasuk says be'etzba. The pasuk is Vayikra Dalet Chafhei 425. Okay, let's see. 425. We're talking about over here the leader's sin offering. Jewish leader sins unintentionally, violating God's commandments, which are prohibited. He should bring a male goat for his offering. Sawyer. You should lean on the goat. Okay. The priest should take some of the blood of the sinner with his finger and place it on the horns of the altar. Let's see. V'lakach hakoyen midam hachatas be'etzboi v'nasan al karnes mizbach ha'oila. The kohen will take from the blood of the chatas with his finger and he'll place it. So what does it mean he'll take? That means he has to receive the blood. With his finger, v'nasan means that he has to place the blood. First he has to get the blood, then he has to place it. Okay. So it goes like this. So it says the word be'etzba'i, it says the word v'lakach, that he, with his finger, and it says the word that he should take. Malame, this comes to teach us, shleite kabbalah ali b'yamin. That means that it needs to be with the right hand. Because etzba'i, his finger, would be the which finger? It means the right one on the right, means the right. Be'etzba v'nasan, it also says with his finger and he shall place. Malamich leitin yasin ala b'yamin. Says the word be'etzba with his finger. That means obviously that it needs to go, it be used as right hand. Now what we did over here was we took the word v'lakach, we took the word v'nasan, which are on both sides of the word be'etzba, and we say etzba v'lakach, etzba v'nasan. We're using the etzbai to define how he's catching the blood, using etzbai to define how he's applying the blood.
Is this from where we learned that something
This we learn how by the service it needs to be in the right hand. We have other sources. We have one of the sources by Mitzayra, and another source I think it says no, but the source is really by Mitzayra. It says the right hand. And
Bon Yada Etzba.
by Yada Yamanis, right?
Does it mean with your right hand or just almost?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Only when it comes to.
Okay, so Benasa and Kabalam say, okay, Amar Reb Shimon, B'chinemri Yad B'Kabbalah. Does it say the hand by receiving the blood? That's you telling me that it has to be the right hand? Elabetz Boy, Benasan. It says only by the finger that he should apply it. That means applying it has to be with the right hand. Since it doesn't say the hand by receiving the blood, so that tells me that if you receive the blood with the left hand, that would also be acceptable. When the Torah says hand, then I know which hand it's referring to, the right one. But it didn't say the word hand, it just said valaka. Reb Shimon doesn't take the word be'etzbai and take it backwards. He only takes the word forwards. Now, the term that Reb Shimon used is, it doesn't say the word hand, it doesn't say the word hand by any of them. It only says etzba, the finger. Okay. Reb Shimon manavshach. Reb Shimon, how does he take this? Yes, like Gzeira Shava. Does he hold that there's a Gzeira Shava? Now, the Gzeira Shava would be that by Mitzayra it says Yadai Hayamanis, and by the Kemitza it also says the word Yad or Yadai, and that would teach me, right? It would teach me that when it says Yad by the Mitzayra, which is the right hand, that would also teach me that the Kemitza needs to be. So if he has yes, like Gzeira Shava. Who cares if it says Yad by the Kabbalah? What's the difference? I would know everything has to be with the right hand automatically because he has the Gzeira Shava that we learned from Mitzayra. We left the Gzeira Shava. If he doesn't have the Gzeira Shava, Yad by Kabbalah. Who cares if it says the word Yad? If he doesn't have the Gzeira Shava, I don't know that the right means. I don't know that hand means right. I'm Rav Yehuda Leilam less the Gzeira Shav. Really, Reb Shimon does not have the Gzeira Shav. And what he means to say is like this: V'chinemer Yad Yamin BeKabbalah. Does it say that you have to receive with the right hand? Hayol v'nemer Yad Yamin BeKabbalah Kibul Small Kasher. Since it doesn't say that you need the right hand, so then it's going to be acceptable without it. So now, 1 second. So why does it have to apply it with the? So that's what we're going to ask. Amalei Rabba says to him, to Rav Yehuda, Yachi, Afil Nesinanami. So then why applying it does he have to? Another issue is, does Reb Shimon not really hold of the Gzeir Shava that says that when it says hand, it means the right hand? But Tanya, but we have a brayso, Reb Shimon, that's Bein El Yamin. He says clearly that when it says the word yad, it means the right hand. When it says espa, it means the right hand. Elam Rava, rather Rava says, we just jumped some generations here from Rabbi Yehuda to Rabba to Rava. Laila Mislay Gzeir Shava, really, Reb Shimon holds of the Gzeir Shava. Which means that when it says the right hand, it means the right hand. When it says the finger, it means the right finger.
Which finger in the right hand?
The finger of the right hand. Right?
Which one?
I think it's the etzba is the first finger.
Thumb?
No, the
Pointer finger?
pointer finger. By the no, that's not a Torah concept. That's just to quiet the baby. There's no law on that. You don't need to give the baby wine. You can have a pacifier also. It's fine. We do it because it works, but it's not a law. Yeah. So Elamarav, they discuss if it works with grape juice. If the quiet, they say the sugar is really what the baby wants. He doesn't care about the alcohol.
It's only in non-Lubavitch.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, you follow? Elamarav, Laila, Misli Gzeir Shava, really, Reb Shimon holds the Gzeir Shava. That if it says etzba, means the right hand. Balchi Kamar, V'chinemer Yad B'Kabbalah, does it say that there's a hand by receiving? It doesn't even say anything. It only says the word etzba, the finger. And you can't receive the blood with the finger. So kibul b'smal kasha. We see etzba is not talking about receiving the blood. Etzba is only talking about applying the blood. Amalei Rav Sama Breder Rav Ashi Ravina. Sama Breder Rav Ashi says to Ravina, 1 second. It's possible to receive the blood with the finger. We can make some gadget or something some finger holder for the thinking you can't hold a vessel with the finger. So well, maybe you can make a whole a type of ring that attaches. Put your finger through it. You'll be able to hold the mizrak, which is the vessel that was used to catch the blood, with the finger. And then when it says finger, it's referring to that. And according to Reb Shimon, the finger is, if it says finger, it means the right hand. Just 1 second.
Finger trap, not
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, when you're pitching,
Yeah,
that's scary when it
when you look,
Nice strap.
it's like straw.
Nice
cheese,
strap.
Chinese
and you
strap.
put
Yeah.
Fingers on it, and then you can't get it.
Oops. It didn't work. 1 second. Okay. Second. Okay. Now, Elam or Abaya, rather, Abaya says the Mikra Nidras Lefanav Alachav Kamiflagi, the Machlekes between Reb Shimon and the sages over here. If the receiving of the blood needs to be done with the right hand, that has to do with if you learn the pasuk forwards and backwards. According to Reb Shimon, you only learn it forwards. So it says Be'etzba Benasan. With his finger, he will apply it. That means he needs to be with the right finger, the application, but it doesn't say backwards that he should take it with this finger. So therefore, the receiving of the blood could be with the left hand. According to the sages, it goes both ways. Amar Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon, mafka mid'avua, mafka mid'Rabbanan. The opinion of Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon, he argues with both his father and the sages. The Tanya was taught in the Brisa. Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon, Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon, Rabbi Shimon Yochai's son, Rabbi Lazar, he says, remember what his job was? What he did for a living? No, he did. He did eat a lot of food. Yes, that's very good. That's a good point.
Loader? Like loader?
Innkeeper,
No,
woodcutter,
no, he
He
was
said
a
woodcutter.
detective
detective.
for the Romans.
You were gonna say that. It was
He
like
was
your
bad?
third, that was your third guess.
He was never.
That's what they
gonna say
thought.
that.
They thought that he was bad. He said, "No, I'm
It
getting
is
rid of the
true.
evil."
It is so true.
It was his third guess.
I'm sorry? No, he was a detective.
Rabbi,
Rabbi
what did it
Shimon-
say about receiving the blood with the right hand?
Reb Shimon Bar Yochai holds that you don't have to receive the blood with the right hand. You can receive with the left hand.
Well, normally it's received with the left hand. Because it's it's gevura, it's blood. So when it's received with the right hand, there must be some kind of exception.
Colors.
Yeah.
The sages so hold that it's received with the right hand. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai holds that it's allowed to be. It could be with the right hand, but it's allowed to be with the left hand also. There's no restriction on that. The Kabbalah of it, I'm not sure. So, Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon says, "Kol makom shneimar etzba b'Kabbalah shina b'Kabbalah pasel b'nesina kasher." He says that if it says etzba by the Kabbalah, he says etzba is on v'lakach, and therefore, according to Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon, you only read it backwards. That v'lakach hakayin be'etzbai. Period. V'nasan, and then he'll place it. That means the etzba is referring to receiving it. And if he changes by the receiving, according to Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon, the receiving of the blood needs to be with the right hand. B'nesina, but if you use the left hand for the application of the blood, that's going to be kosher. But if it says etzba by the applying the blood, then it would be different. Where does it say etzba by applying the blood? It says v'lakachta midam apar v'nasata al kanes hamizbeach be'etzbaecha. Where is that pasuk? That is by the inauguration sacrifice. So kasavar mikra nidrus lefanav v'loy lifnei fanav ula achar v'loy la'achar. It's supposed to be. Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon holds that you read the pasuk backwards. You read when it says in our pasuk it says v'lakach hakayim midam achatas be'etzbai, means the etzbai is going on v'lakach, and it's not going on anything that's before the v'lakach, and it's not going on anything that's after the etzbai. So he holds that in our pasuk, the application of the blood could be with the left hand. He argues on everyone. Totally different opinion. Rabbi bar Bachana says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, if it says the word etzba and it also says kahuna, for example, our pasuk, v'lakach hakohen, says a kohen, and it also says etzba. So we know it's referring to the right hand. Kasal kadaitin taita binan. Who? What do you mean? Where's Rish Lakish?
In the commentaries. Yeah.
Oh, Gimel. Aleph. Oh, okay, yeah. The Shittim Kumetz switches. Instead of Rabbi Yochanan, it's Rish Lakish. Okay. Rabbi bar Bachana was a student of that time, in that time, so he either said it in the name of Rabbi Yochanan or according to a different manuscript, he said it in the name of Rish Lakish. So whatever the case is, Sal Kadaitin Taitibinan, that if you want to say that it's the right hand, you need to have two criteria, two signs in the pasuk. One that has to say etzba and has to say kain. Kedeksiv lakachakain midam achatas be'etzbai. The Gemara says v'yalef mimitzaira. Kedeksiv v'tav lakain etzbai hayamanis. Because over there it says hakayin and etzbai hayamanis. Okay. that a question or is that a statement? How do they have it by you? Is that a question? It's a statement. Okay, good. The Gemara asks for a kmitza like sivel kahuna. Why by kmitza? When it comes to taking the scoop of the mincha, it says v'tanan kamatz b'small pasal, and it said we know that it's invalid. And over there, it doesn't have both words. It doesn't have kahuna and what does it say by the kmitza? By the kmitza, it says kamatz akayin probably. Kamatz akayin. Oh, 1 second. B'tavel akayin. It's not quoting the pasuk by me. Do you have the pasuk by kmitza? V'kamatz misham. B'nei Aaron akayin. V'kamatz misham. Yeah. So it says kayanim. So it only says kayin. It doesn't say the finger. So how do we know that it needs to be the right hand? Or it doesn't say hand. Tanan only says kuna. The Gemara says clearly it's only kuna. Ella Marava. Rather, Rava says, what's this base? The base is we take out the word Ella. Amarava. Oy etzba oy kahuna. It doesn't need to be both words, etzba and kahuna. Just need one or the other. Abaya says, when it comes to taking the limbs up the ramp, the ksivbu kahuna, but there it does say kahuna. It says v'hikriv hakayin as a kol v'iktar mizbecha. The kayin will take everything and will burn it, smoke it on the altar. The Brisa says that this is referring to walking the limbs to the ramp. Utanana regal shel yamin b'smailai. And we know that he carries it, the right leg, he carries it in the left hand, the Beisayir Lachutz. And the cut was facing to the outside. So this is a problem because it says Hakayin, and if you only need one or the other, it has to be done with the right hand, not with the left hand. So it says, when do we say that it's or this or that? It needs to be with the right hand, or Kayin or Etzba needs to be, that's B'davar Hamakiv Kapara. That's only something that's essential for the atonement. The Mitzvah, just like by the Mitzvah, which is part of the purification process. Okay. How does Reb Shimon say that it's kosher if that's makiv the kapara and it says both? When it says Reb Shimon tarti boy, Reb Shimon actually requires both words. It says say kayin. It also needs to say etzba. When it says mi boy Reb Shimon tarti, does Reb Shimon really require both? But we have a brisa that says, yeah. The scoop is with the 3 fingers. But it says in the brisa, Reb Shimon kol makom shneimar yad ein el yamin, etzba ein el yamin. You see, it doesn't have to be both. It doesn't say yad or etzba, even without the word kayin. Where it says like this, etzba loy by kahuna. If it says the word etzba, it doesn't have to say kayin. So we know it's the right hand. But kahuna by etzba. But if it says kahuna, it still needs to say etzba. So which means that's why Reb Shimon says that where it says over there kayin, the receiving of the blood, it only says kayin. It doesn't say the application because it doesn't say the etzba because we said that the etzba is going on the future, not on the past. On the next words. So then why does it have to say kayin if you still need the word etzba? And etzba doesn't need the word kayin, right? So it seems like it's totally extra. Bikihunan. Teach me that they need to be bikihunan. They have to be with their clothing, Rashi says, wearing the proper clothing. By Zrika, like Sibbu Elakuna, but by the Zrika it says Vazarak Akayan. And we know Utanan Zarik Bismal Pasal. And you told me that if it says Kayan, that doesn't tell me anything until it says another word along with it. That says V'lei Polig Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon doesn't argue. Amar Abaya Polig Bebraisa. You're right, he doesn't argue in the Mishnah, but in the Braisa he argues. The Tanya was started in the Braisa. Kibul Bismal Pasal. Reb Shimon Machsher. Zarik Bismal Pasal. Reb Shimon Machsher. Okay, so that Reb Shimon is consistent with his opinion that the word Kayan doesn't tell me everything. It needs to say Etzba as well. Reb Shimon Tarti Boy. Okay. Ella Hadam Rava. But this that Rava said, Yad Lekmitza, Regel Lechalitza, Eisen Litzia Lamali. We do Rabba Baruch Hana Nafka. We learn it from Rabba Baruch Hana. So Rava had the Gzeir Shava. There's a minion at 7? Really? No. Do you want to daven in the early minute? No, I wanted to do another page of it. Okay. You have to go at 7? Okay. So Yad Lekmitza. There's a Gzeir Shava that we learned from the Mitzayra. It says Yad by Kmitza. It says Yad by Mitzayra, and we know by the Mitzayra it has to go on his right hand, on the thumb of his right hand, and the thumb of his the big toe of his right foot. And so we learned from that it's a Gzeir Shava. So according to Rava, Rava's asking that according to the one that learns this Gzeir Shava, so what do I need the Rabba Bar Bachana to tell me that there's Etzba and Kahuna? I know it already from Gzeir Shava, verbal analogy from the Mitzayra. I have now two sources that things in the Torah need to be done with the right hand. So the Gemara explains, Chad l'kaimetz. One teaches me about the kaimetz. Chad l'kiddush kaimetz. One teaches me that putting the kaimetz, that besides that the kmitza needs to be done in the right hand. One teaches me that you need to put the kaimetz into the vessel with the right hand. So the Gzeir Shava would tell me the kmitza itself, I guess. And the other one would tell me that after I did the kmitza, maybe I can put it in my left hand and put it into the vessel. But no, you have to use the right hand to put it into the vessel. Reb Shimon Leiboy Kiddush Kaimetz, according to Reb Shimon, he says that you don't have to put it into a vessel. You could take it straight up to the temple, to the altar. Ulaman Shimon Leiboy Kiddush Kaimetz. Ulaman Dam Reb Shimon Nami Boy Kiddush Kaimetz Bismal Achshure Machsher Yad Rava Lamali. Or according to the other opinion, there's another opinion that says, according to Reb Shimon, that he says that you can do it with the you can do it with the left hand. So if you can do the kiddush kaimetz with the left hand, you can put it into the vessel with the left hand. So why do I need the extra teaching from Rava that says Yad Gzeir Shava? Ila kmitza atzma. If it's to teach me that the kmitza itself needs to be done with the right hand, that I learned from Rabbi Yehuda, son of Rabbi Chia. I'm Rabbi Yehuda. My time with the Reb Shimon. What's the source of Reb Shimon? The Amar Kra Kodesh Kadashim Kachatas Ukasham. We had this before at the beginning of the Masechta. That the mincha is similar to the chatas and it's similar to the asham. Balav the biyad. If you're gonna do the kmitza and offer and bring it straight up without putting it into a vessel, like the biyamin, then you have to bring it up with the right hand. Kechatas, just like kechatas, which is done with the right finger, with the application of the blood. Here, when you burn the kaimetz, you bring it to the altar with the right hand. Balav the bekeli. But if you're going to use a utensil, because you're going to put it into utensil, I've the bismal kasham, then you could use the left hand like kasham. So the question is that you don't really need the right hand by the kmitza to put it. You don't need to put it into vessel into the right hand. So why do we need the yad? Why do I need the extra teaching? It says when it comes to a minchas chayte, which is the sinner, does the minchas chayte mean the saita, or the minchas chayte means no? It means the one that needs to bring the sacrifice but doesn't have the funds to bring it, so they bring the carbon mincha. I could have thought that since Reb Shimon says that his sacrifice should not be beautiful, he comes like a small namitis kasher, so you can use the left hand also to do kmitza. Doesn't have to be so pretty. Mashmalon comes to teach us that it has to be the right hand. So that's why I have yad to teach me that kmitza. Okay, next Mishnah. Today's 27, so we're on 25. We're doing good. Let's go a little further. The the blood spills on the floor. Yeah, you're talking about you did the shechita on the carbon, collected the blood into the vessel, of course, with the right hand, according to the sages, according to Reb Shimon, it didn't matter. And then the blood spilled. So, and he gathers, actually, this nishbach is not talking about where it's accepted into the vessel. This is straight from the neck. If it's accepted into the vessel, it's different. The Mishnah is talking about straight from the neck onto the floor. Straight from the neck onto the floor, and he gathers it as puzzle. Taner Rabbanu was done in Bryce of Lakach HaKayin HaMashiach. The anointed Kayin will take the blood, midam apar, from the Kayin HaMashiach will take from the blood of the cow, of the bull, midam hanefesh, from the blood of its life, midam ma'ar, but not the blood that comes from the skin, midam atamtsis, and not the blood that's squeezed out. How do they translate tamtsis? Does they squeeze? Remnant blood. Midam apar, dam me hapar yikableno. It says that you have to receive it straight from the par. Okay. This alkadaitach midam hapar kideksiv midam afilomitzastam. Maybe you could say the word mem, the letter mem at the beginning of a Hebrew word means from. So it says, we learned it, midam hapar, and we said dam me hapar. Instead of the from the blood, we read it blood from the bull, not from the blood. From the blood would tell me you have to take some of the blood. Blood from the bull means it has to come directly. So midam hapar kedeksiv. If you would read it literally, from the blood, which midam afil mitzvastam, that means only from the blood, only some of the blood. But you have to receive all of the blood. That means you have to. It says all the blood should be spilled. You have to take the mem from the first word and put it on the second word.
How big were these?
Sure. There's a lot of blood.
At first I was thinking like nickel bus or cup, but a bowl has a lot of blood, so
Right.
maybe a bucket.
Yeah. But it's only the blood that spritzes out at the beginning, not the blood that oozes out after. Okay. Ukasavar geirin umeisifin v'darshan. We hold that we're allowed to cut off, add, and then explain. Cut off the letter from here, you add it onto that, and then you can splice.
You could do that.
Yeah. All right. Amar Rav Gufa. We learned before. He said, Amar Rav Yudah Marav, that's Sheikhet. Rav Yudah said, name of Rav, that the one that's slaughtering, Tzarech she'yikabel es kol dam mishal par. He has to receive all the blood. Shneimar ves kol dam apar yishbeich. All the blood of the bull he should pour. Where should he pour it? On the side of the altar. Okay. That's not talking about catching the blood. That's talking about only the remaining of the blood. It's not talking about receiving the blood. It's talking about the remainder of the blood he should pour. Gemara says, "Meinin l'shirayim." It's not really necessary for shirayim because the shirayim means remainder. The halasa l'kul adam, because you don't have all the blood, when it's the remainder. Tanei in the Kabbalah, so it means that by the receiving. Amar Rav Yudah Shmuel, Rav Yudah says name of Shmuel, Shefet Tzarech she'gbiya sakin l'mayla. One that's slaughtering cannot slaughter from the bottom. You have to slaughter from the top. Now it doesn't mean the nape of the neck, the back of the neck, but it means you have to make the animal go in the way that you can slaughter the front of the neck, but with the knife being above the flow of the blood. Because remember, blakach midam hapar, loy midam hapar v'davar acher, v'dam asak. Okay. You can't receive it. You have to sort of turn the animal. So it says because you can't receive the blood in the vessel if it's dripping off the knife. You're supposed to receive it from the animal, not from the animal plus the knife. So that you hold it above. What do you clean off the knife? Where do you clean off the knife? I'm Rabbi B'Sfas Mizuk. You ripe it on the edge of the how do they translate Mizrach? The container. What do they translate? The bowl? Just say a bowl?
Golden bowls.
The bowl. The bowl.
With the knife?
No. Talking about the
Receiving bowl.
what the receiving bowl. Mizrak is the receiving bowl. Kedeksiv Kippurei Zav, as it says, Kippurei Zav, the Mizrak, which is the bowl, the golden bowl, is also called Kippurei. Now Kippurei means to cleanse. They say it's also used to cleanse the knife. Weird. Probably literally meaning it cleanses the person from his sin. But over here you wipe the knife on him. Rav Chisda Rav Yirm bar Abba. Rav Chisda says name Rav Yirmiyah Masechet Tzarech Sheyitain. The Sheichet Tzarech Sheyitain breathe in L'Toich Keli. He has to take the veins from the neck and put it into the vessel so that it should go directly into the vessel.
Veins, already.
Put it into the airspace of the vessel. Catch it directly. It's Manami Amar Ravasi Amar Rabbi Breathe in Tzarech Yiru Avir Keli. Rav Asi says in the name of Rabbi Yechanan that the veins, what's the vein on the neck? Aorta? Jugular vein has to go to the airspace of the vessel. Rav Asi asked Rabbi Yechanan an interesting question. Let's say he's receiving the blood, but the bottom of the bowl pops open. There's a big hole right in the bottom, so the flows right out. So avir shein sefer lanuach kemonach dami. Is the airspace considered like it's in the bowl and it's considered like it rested? Or is it not considered in the bowl? Right. Now the difference is because if you receive the blood in the vessel and then it spills on the floor, you're allowed to go to the floor and scoop it up. If the blood fell straight from the neck onto the floor, then you're not allowed to scoop it up. So as it passes through this vessel, is it considered that it went into the vessel but it fell on the floor? Or is it considered that it's not a vessel at all? It's funny because they said, Rabbi Soloveitchik's father was Maseches Soloveitchik. They had a brother, his brother was the Briskerov, the Grizz, Yitzchak Zev. Yeah. Rebelval, they call him. And Reb Chaim was the father of the. They said that he learned with the Rebelval, the Briskerov. He didn't learn with Reb Moshe. He said, "Why? What's it?" He said, "If there was a hole, there was a cup with a hole in it, and you would ask Reb Moshe, why is the water on the floor?" He said, "Because there's a hole in the cup." If you would ask Rebelval, he would say, "Because there's no cup." Give me 1 second. My son is at the airport. He needs his confirmation. Give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second. NMRQQ. Okay. So that's real. That discussion is really the Gemara's question: is it a hole in the cup, or is there no cup? Amalei Tanisua. We learned this in a brayso. It says Chavis shemunachas tachas hazinuk. This Gemara for this. Page are we on? Let's see. Yeah. So we learned it in a brayso. When we're talking about the water that's used for the paraduma, to sprinkle on the person that's came impure from a corpse. It says, if there's a barrel that's put under the flow of the spring that you're using to get the water, water is falling into this barrel. Sorry, water that's inside it, in the hollow of the barrel, the shebechutzala, or the water that's right above it, psulim. Why is it possible?
Sue for what?
For the to use as the water to sprinkle the
Just like sue in the mikvah.
it has to land in the barrel.
Picture they call it a jug. So southern jug.
If someone would come along and take the water that's flowing yeah, I have that. But we're saying I have the picture in this one. This is the Hebrew of that. But if someone would take the water that's already in that vessel, it has to be directly from the spring into the vessel. And this is considered in the vessel already once it's in the airspace of the vessel. However, Tseiref Pia Lazinuk, Mayim Shebesecheb Sulan, Shebechutzala Ksherim. What happens if he puts it, he puts the mouth up to the beginning of the flow? Then the water that's inside is puzzle. Why is the water inside puzzle?
You're saying the water above in the space is okay, but in the jug is possible?
No, water in the jug is permissible,
So what's possible?
but someone else can't take the water from that because it's taking it from one jug to another.
Yeah, what's the term we use when by a mikvah we create water? Which is not
Shacha,
Shav-
Shuvin.
Yeah, so there's if that person was shuv jug, whatever the correct.
Water.
One second. A dead man. What do you mean a dead man?
Yeah.
It's like something that's like inevitable that it's gonna happen.
Oh, like a psikresha, like the dead chicken. Just 1 second. Let me see how they explain this. Problem is that jug, that barrel that's on the floor, was not put there for the paraduma. So once the water goes into there, they become invalid from using it. So what the Bryce is telling us is that even the water that's outside it, once it goes to the ear space, it already becomes invalid because it's considered like it's placed into it. It's not considered mayim chayim anymore. It's not considered coming directly from the spring. So if someone lifts it up, so then it's of course going to be puzzle, but the water that didn't come into the airspace is going to be kosher. So what we're learning from this is that the airspace is already considered that it's like it's in the vessel. So that blood that went into the airspace, it's like it's already received, and so therefore it would be kosher. Now, the original question was, when exactly did this utensil break the bottom? Did the bottom of the utensil break? It broke once the blood was above the vessel, but not in the airspace of the vessel. Now we're learning that anything that's above the vessel is considered like it's already in it. So therefore it's considered like it was in the vessel. And then when it broke, so it's considered like it's spilled from the vessel. Where it says, hi, Mai, what's going on over here? Well, how is this a proof? Our original question was, when something is not going to land because there's a hole in the bottom, and you're telling me an answer about something that is going to land because there's a container on the bottom, and you say that it's considered like it landed. Where it says Tartika Baimine. Actually, Rabasi had two questions from Rabbi Yechanan, and this question went like this: Imtim Tzalaimar, if you're going to answer me that Avir Shein Seif Lenuach Lav Kamunach Tami, answer me that that airspace that's not going to rest is considered like it didn't rest. So then I have another question. What happens about if it is going to rest? Is it considered like it rested? So we answered the second question that it's considered like it rested. What if there's a hole and it's not? That we didn't answer yet.
It's like two contradicting things. If the airspace is because definitely it's gonna go in, but if it has
Hole in the bottom. Right.
Right.
So far we only answered a question of Ravasi, which we didn't know that he asked. Rabbi Yosef Masniachi. Rabbi Yosef has a different version of this discussion, and his version goes like this. Rav Kana, the Rabbi Yosef's version was the way we explained it. Rav Kana Masni, Rav Kana's version is Chavis Ba'imine. He asked him about a barrel, about the jug, you call it, the jug under the flow of water for the paraduma. Pashat le Chavis. And Rabbi Yechanan answered from the Brisa that says that the jug, it's considered like it's in the airspace of the jug once it's above it. Rabba Masni, Rabba has another version of this question. Chavis Ba'imine. He asked him about the jug that's collecting the water. And Upashat le, Rabbi Yechanan responded, Mizrak, from the utensil that's receiving the blood. Will you not agree that the blood that's pouring from the neck it always has to go with the flow, which means it has to go with a stream that has to go out, which means it doesn't go directly from the neck into the vessel. It has to go over this stream. Unless you put the veins in. But the veins don't fit all the way in. They're only going to go on top of it. Which means that if it's on top of the vessel, it's considered like it's in the vessel. So it's considered that you received it directly from the bull. So
they put the thing on the lip of the jug or something.
Yeah, but even then, even if it's on the lip of it, it would still be considered that it goes on top of it first. So back to the jug of Rabbi Yechanan with the paradum, it's considered when it's above it, it's considered that it's in the vessel already. We didn't consider the pipe a vessel. The pipe wasn't a vessel. The anything above the vessel is considered that it's already in the vessel, but the pipe was not a vessel because it has it's open on both ends. Oh, that we didn't answer. Yeah. Okay, let's leave it over here. We're up to Tanan Hassan. No, we're up to Tanan Hassan, which is the bottom of the skinny lines.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
It's just above the big ones. Making fun of the skinny line. Say it's just above the big one.
So today was Chav Zayin, so we're 2 pages behind, which is good.